Hi hearties, before we jump into episode 3, I do want to take a couple of minutes to rant about these other shows. I hope you don't mind. Sometimes it's hard to find an online friend that you can stay in touch with throughout the season of a certain show. Number 1 is called The Gilded Age. It's on HBO. 9 episodes in season 1, and the season finale just happened this past Monday night. I highly recommend. If you loved Downton Abbey, it's the same creator for this show, Gilded Age. It's a time period show, so if you like that, you'll like this show. At first I was like, should I watch it? Because I already have too many shows on my list, but it's really good, and I'm really excited for season 2. So if you never watch it, you can watch season 1, knowing that there will be season 2 coming next year, I believe. They will be back in Rhode Island, New York area between May to October of this year. So it's really exciting for season 2, and the season finale, I don't want to spoil anything, but I'm just so excited for this leading potential couple that hopefully will happen in season 2. If you know, you know. And the second show I want to talk about is it's in season 2 right now on TV, PBS in America. I think it's on a different channel in England. It's called Sanditon. It's based on an unfinished novel by Jane Austen. I don't think they will go by the book anymore. Season 2, I just want to say, without spoiling anything, the first 2 minutes, I was just like, wow, you really have to keep breaking our hearts. If you know season 1, you know what happened. And the first 2 minutes of season 2, I'm just like, great. But I think on the positive side, what happened in the first 2 minutes of season 2, it brought more potential storylines that can happen later on this season. So that's a good thing. But I'm just like, well, that's out of the picture. If you never watched these two shows, I highly recommend them. It's a time period pieces. Really good. And if anyone wants to talk about these two shows, you know where I'm at. And I'm really excited for season 2 of The Gilded Age, and I'm really excited for the next 5 episodes of Sanditon. And it's really nice though. Sanditon has season 3 already booked and planned. So it's not like at the end of season 2, you know, you're like, oh, what's gonna happen? Is this show gonna get picked up again? Yeah. And season 2 of Sanditon, there are new men in this show. Alright, I'm gonna leave it at that. But if you want to talk about these shows, feel free to talk to me. I love talking about shows. Anyway, on to episode 3 of season 9 of When Calls the Heart.
Thank you very much.
I just want to show this very quick moment between Elizabeth and Lucas. It's a very exciting day for Elizabeth as an author. She is now a published author, and she is at her own book signing, and that is just a big dream came true for her. Lucas is so proud of her. She is proud of herself. So I want to show that quick moment, and I think it's just a beautiful exchange between the two. And they knew, looking at each other, they knew they were proud of what they did, of what they created, and what Lucas did in his part, and how far Elizabeth came as an author, as a writer. So it's a big, big day and a big accomplishment for Elizabeth.
How would you like this signed?
Make it out to the one that got away. That's Nath. It is a pretty good inscription.
Nathan being himself once again with his annoying sarcasm. I thought it was really interesting though, Lucas came over, but I guess he just wanted to join the conversation and check in on Nathan.
I see you're getting back to your old self. How's the arm doing?
Still giving me a little trouble. You back to duty? Bill's still on boards.
Well, if there's anything we can do.
No, I'm actually headed to see Newton. I just hope he remembers me. It's been a while.
Lucas even said, if you need anything, we we would be here to help you, and that was really nice of him. Just not only Elizabeth hears for Nathan, but Elizabeth and Lucas. It's nice that Nathan did come to the book signing in support for Elizabeth. I thought that was a very friendly thing to do as a friend. I mean, he didn't have to, but I wonder what he would think when he read the book.
I hope you enjoy my book.
I'll let you know.
I wish we get to see what Elizabeth had for her, what do you call that, acknowledgement session. I wish we get to see what she wrote in it, like if there is a page of that. But I wanted to pause on that little acknowledgement that Elizabeth wrote for Nathan, and I thought that was very short but sweet, and it's really a nice touch from Elizabeth, and she used the word impeccable once again, and I thought it was a very sweet compliment that Elizabeth wrote for Nathan, and of course it made him smile, and it's really nice that they remained friends.
Nathan, give me a moment. I'm finishing your prescription.
Sure.
Nathan is a Mountie, so attention to details. He can easily sit in a room and survey the room and see what's around him, and his eyes came upon that certificate on the wall, and it shows that Maysu is actually a licensed pharmacist. And this is like a big clue number one for Nathan, because we still don't know what the secret, right, of Maysu. And she already told Bill that she needed to talk to Bill Avery about something.
Stop by to check on Newton this morning. He's doing so much better.
Not that I can see. Although Bill tells me it's different for you. I'm wondering, what is it that you're doing to help Newt?
I'd be glad to show you.
You could just tell me.
It starts with being patient.
Okay. I see that you're busy. I'm sorry I bothered you.
Nathan.
Maysu has this like fire inside of her that she can just like easily say something like right off the bat, whether it is nice or it might seem mean or harsh, but it did sounded like kind of harsh to Nathan when she said it starts with being patient. And Nathan right off the bat, he was impatient. He's like, I'm out, I'm gonna leave this place, like you're not gonna tell me what you've been doing to my horse, so you know what, I'm gonna leave, like see you later. So this is like an interesting conversation. Like at first, like the meeting was a little bit mysterious, and then it was good at the grand opening of the ice cream shop, and now this is like kind of like a little tiny argument.
If we're going to surprise Miss Thornton tonight, we have to make sure that the timing is perfect. Am I boring you?
Légèrement.
A lot of people worked hard to keep this book party a secret, and I would very much like to have it be memorable.
Wait, may I go?
Please, yes, go. If Gustav weren't my cousin.
Gustav's your cousin?
Why do you think he's still here?
Yeah.
I watched this on Sunday night, and I was like, are you freaking for real? Gustav is Lucas' cousin? Like, why did I not think of that? Like, the possibility. What? Lucas is planning something really special for Elizabeth. He's so thoughtful. He's like really focused on making this event really successful. Lucas really here for Elizabeth. Like I said before, like even though he's gonna start focusing on the little things in life, he's still a big grand gesture type of guy. So I mean, a party for Elizabeth for the release of her very first published book, yeah, he's still going for the big thing for Elizabeth, because that's who he is, and he really, really loves this woman.
Nathan, have I said or perhaps done something to upset you? I've only tried to help.
It isn't you. I think this accident has affected me more than I'm willing to admit it has.
Nathan, his usual attitude. He's going through a tough time right now too in the recovery, and he's doing better physically, but now it's just his horse. His horse is not responding to him, not respecting Nathan. The relationship between Newton and Nathan is just broken right now, and it needs to be fixed and need to earn that trust again.
Now, with Newton acting this way,
You two were injured. Physically. But more than that, you both suffered emotional trauma. It doesn't surprise me that you and Newton are having trouble.
maybe I wasn't paying attention. Maybe this accident was my fault.
I started to realize though, as I watched this scene again, it's Nathan really open with May too. We didn't really see that happen between him and Elizabeth. So it's just I don't know if anyone see that what I'm saying. Nathan is really opening up about his feelings and the struggle that he is facing with this accident to make sure he's maybe I didn't pay attention, if I pay attention, or maybe this is my fault. He putting the pressure of what happened at the accident on himself, and I'm just wow, Nathan, you really spilling all your thoughts and feelings and emotion about the accident to this woman that you barely even know.
Bill seems to think it couldn't have been avoided. And from what Faith says, because of your concussion, you don't remember what happened.
I don't.
Consider that a gift. At least you don't have to relive the accident.
Nathan still doesn't remember what happened at the accident, and I do want to make another note. When May said that, consider that as a gift that you don't remember the accident, I feel that's kind of relate back to what she's going through and her secret and what happened to Jeffrey. Maybe she wished that whatever happened in her past did not happen, and that she wished that she did not remember what she did in her past that made her come to Hope Valley. You know what I mean?
May, I want to apologize to you. And I want to thank you for just everything that you've done.
Nathan is being really smooth with this lady. He apologized and thanked her for all of her help. And I'm just you're just being such a gentleman and recognizing and appreciating her help.
How about a cold drink at Yost's?
How about that?
So, what made you want to become a Mountie?
And she extended their time together by inviting him for a whole drink. And she even asked him, I think if I heard it right, when do you know that you wanted to become a Mountie? So she wanted to get to know him a little bit more, and I assume Nathan wanted to get to know her more. Again, it was a very open and honest conversation between Nathan and May, and I'm still a little bit surprised though how open he was to May, and I guess May had this this nature, this present, humming present that Nathan just feel comfortable to open up a little bit more about how he is feeling about what happened at the accident. Feel free to tell me if that meant anything. Is that anything that we should keep an eye on? I thought it was okay, is she jealous? Or am I reading it wrong? I don't know. Her face is the only one that knows more about May's secret without knowing what the actual secret is. She knows that something is up. Even Ned and Florence, but May worked with Faith more, so Faith kind of already had that background information. May is great, she's a great pharmacist, a great helper in the infirmary, but there's something more, and Faith knows that. So I thought, is she jealous, or she's just like kind of like thinking like, okay, like this woman came out of nowhere, came into Hope Valley, started hanging out with Nathan. And a few Hardy last season was talking about how Faith always wanted to be with a Mountie. So it's just like, to me, okay, is there like a little bit jealousy going on there? Let me know what you think.
Gustav said you'd be here. Or would you prefer to be left alone?
Not by you.
Why don't you come join me down here, where there's beautiful breeze?
All right.
Lucas is freaking out and hoping for the best that this whole night plan will go really well. He's freaking out, and Elizabeth's just like, okay, you're acting a little bit weird.
Hi.
Hi. This is quite the switch. You coming up and finding me watching over Main Street?
Yes, it is a switch. It's also a switch for you to be the one who's brooding. What is it?
We seen Lucas over the course of the last 4-ish season, him being on the balcony of Queen of Hearts and drinking his tea from his teacup, watching over Main Street of Hope Valley. Now Elizabeth is, and after that, Lucas picked up on something. He noticed that there's something going on with Elizabeth and that she is thinking about something and she's just not her normal self.
Some book reviews came to the paper, and a few of them were awful. More than that, they were unkind. Not just about my writing, but about me.
You're open and vulnerable. And that is what makes you the great writer that you are.
Lucas overturned that and he made those negative reviews of a book, of her being an author, to a more positive description of who she really is and the great thing that she did with her book and how she was open and vulnerable and taking a risk in writing this book and to show and storytell the emotion and the adventure and the storylines in that book. And we all know that her book is inspired by what she went through in her real life. So it was very nice of Lucas to switch that in her mind. Like, hey, like, don't listen to them. Like, you did great. Like, the reason why they talk bad about your book and yourself is because of how great you are as a writer. I think that it's a very great characteristic trait to have in a boyfriend, and you need someone that will support you endlessly and be there to love you and not to push you down. Lucas encouraged her right away and loved on her and supported her in that very moment.
Never let anyone callous your heart. I was gonna wait to give you this, but now seems like just as good a time as any.
It's from your mother.
It is.
Lucas had a little surprise. I'm waiting for Elizabeth. As you can see, it's an envelope from Lucas' mom, and that's really nice. Helen and Elizabeth became close companions, and they had a great professional relationship in editing her book and getting it published.
Dearest Elizabeth, Martin and I regret being unable to join you on such an auspicious and well-deserved night of celebration. One of Lucas's favorite stories was Excalibur. With that in mind, I wish to present you with this.
If you pay close attention to the facial expression of Lucas, like the first one was like, he was just very proud of his mom and his dad. Like, he's just proud of how supportive and loving his parents are to Elizabeth, and that's very important. Like, when you're in a relationship, like, you want your parents to love your partner and support your relationship with that person. The second one is like when Helen mentioned one of Lucas' favorite book, Lucas just like a little bit shy, like, oh, my mom putting me in the spotlight. It's just like those little facial reaction that Lucas expressed as Elizabeth read the letter from Lucas' mom. Like, this letter is not only like a love letter, a supportive letter to Elizabeth, but it's a love letter to Lucas too, because he knows for sure that his parents love Elizabeth.
This is the pencil your mother used to make her countless edits on my manuscript.
It was the pencil.
Was.
Remember when Helen and Elizabeth first met and how they began to work together over her manuscript? What a time. And now they came this far, and you can see that even though the crazy amount of hours worked on her book and trying to deal with Helen's personality and Helen dealing with Elizabeth's personality, like sometimes working with a person with different personality can be really hard, you know? So it's like a lot of ups and downs that these two women went through in getting the book finalized. And Elizabeth, looking at that pencil, remembering what she went through with Helen, like even though it was a very challenging and long work of creating this product, this book, at the same time, it was just a adventure and some good times in between, and she just appreciate and very grateful that she be able to be what she is now with the help of Helen and Lucas.
You have pulled the sword from the stone, my dear, and unleashed your power over the written word. With love and great admiration, Helen. I wish your parents were here.
Me too.
The way that letter ended, again, Helen is very supportive of Elizabeth and very proud of her, especially this being the first book published by Elizabeth herself. It's just a very loving parents-in-law, future parents-in-law, and Elizabeth even mentioned, like, I wish your parents were here. So it's really nice to have a great relationship with your in-laws, and Lucas already know that with his parents' approval of Elizabeth, he can be sure that when the time comes for engagement, for proposal, his parents will be supportive of his relationship, his marriage with Elizabeth.
But now, how about dinner?
Can we just stay for a while? Look up at the stars.
I think that would be nice. But first, a kiss.
Oh!
Poor Lucas, trying to hide Elizabeth from everyone else, trying to keep the surprise party surprise. Hickam is funny in that scene. Even though some people in Hope Valley still have their doubts about Hickam being the new mayor of Hope Valley, he still is there to support Elizabeth Buck, and it's just nice that, you know, Hickam still has that respect and foundation of like relationship with other citizens of Hope Valley. Even though, you know, Lucas, Lee, and Bill just like, are you sure you're the right mayor, Hickam? Like, I don't know what you're gonna do as a mayor. Like, you know. And if you remember this episode, like, Hickam literally kicked Bill out of his office. And I feel so bad for Bill, and I'm like, oh my god. He's like, the end of this week, and he like, oh, no, I think he said either Friday or like the end of this week, and then he's like, by the end of next week. Like, he tried to like smoothly kick Bill out of his office. Poor Bill. Yeah, so people still have, you know, doubts about Hickam being a mayor, but he still have that love and respect for his neighbors, and it's really nice that he went to Elizabeth's book party.